Good morning. I am Deb Kim, and I am the Pilates director at the Advocate Good Shepherd Health and Fitness Center. And we are going to do a chair Pilates class today. I am doing it in a folding chair. I will step aside for a second to show you what a Pilates chair actually looks like. So our Pilates chair actually has spring tension. It has a pedal that moves up and down. So you have a little bit of spring resistance with that, but we are going to use a folding chair or a chair that is comfortable for you to sit in. If you need arms, that's perfectly fine as well. What you do need to be conscious of is that your chair is on a surface that is not going to slide. So I have mine sitting on a mat because I'm on a hardwood floor. But just knowing that your chair is secure. Also, when we get to some standing work, that your chair is stable. If it is not stable, you may want to move it towards a wall so that part of the chair is attached or pushed into the wall or near a counter. And then we'll begin with sitting up nice and tall. So you can use your hands to press yourself down. We want to think about the crown of the head reaching up to the ceiling. And we want to notice that when we're sitting, where we are sitting on the chair, as far as what is our pelvis sitting on when we're on the chair. So I'm close to the front edge of my chair. I'm about an inch away. My feet are grounded onto the floor. So I want to keep my feet grounded. I want to be able to feel my big toe mound, my little toe mound, and my heel. So I want my legs to be lined up with my hip joint. So your hip joint is where you lift your knee up. That is where your hip joint is. It's not out here to the side. So I want to have all of that alignment. I'm going to move my chair back a little bit so you can see my feet. All right, so in this position, my feet are on the mat. I'm sitting up nice and tall. And we're just going to talk a little bit about our position that we're in. So we're sitting tall, we're on our sit bones. Where are your sit bones? That is the base of your pelvis. You're going to rock back slightly, go behind them, rock forward slightly, come in front of them. We want to be right on top. Do a little side to side, rock back. They're the bony landmarks of our pelvis. So again, we're pressing down, we're lifting up nice and tall. So we're going to talk a little bit about where stress lives in our body. So in our body, we sometimes hold stress in our shoulders. When we hold stress in our shoulders, we have an effect on not only the shoulders, but also the neck. The next area we hold stress in is our diaphragm. So our diaphragm sits in the body behind the rib cage, and it is responsible for assisting us in our breathing. We are going to be beginning with some breathing exercises. The third place where we hold stress is in our pelvis. So we are going to take a look at what that looks like when we are feeling stress in the pelvis. When we feel stress in the pelvis, it affects our lower back. So again, we have our feet on the floor. We're sitting up nice and tall. We're going to start with a breathing series that's called a 3D breath breakdown. So we're going to take one hand, we're going to place it at our collarbone. So we're going to find our collarbones. We're going to place one hand at our collarbone. We're going to place one hand at the low belly. When you take a breath in, you are going to be breathing in not only to the front of your body, but I also want you to think about your back body, right? So if you need to at any time, you can take a hand and bring it behind. And as you're taking your breaths in, you're thinking about that expansion front to back. So let's take 3 breaths. So breathing in and breathing out. You can breathe in through your nose and breathe out through your mouth. Do one more, breathing in and breathing out. Right? The next area where we're going to breathe into is our rib cage. So we're going to, again, take a breath in, and this time think about your ribs expanding out and on your exhale, coming inward. So funneling in, taking your hands to the sides of your ribs and taking a big breath in and exhale. And breathing in and breathing out. And more, breathing in and breathing out. And then the third location is we're going to breathe from the collarbone to the low belly, or even closer to our pubic bone. And this time when you take your breath in, I want you to think of your hands extending away from each other. So again, hand to the low belly near the pubic bone. You're sitting up nice and tall, shoulders are relaxed, and you're going to take a breath in, expanding between the 2 hands, exhale. It's almost if your hands expand away from each other and then draw closer to each other. So again, breathing in and breathing out. One more time, breathing in and breathing out. Okay. And then breathing, when you're in this movement pattern, think about just always taking a breath in and breathing out as you're moving. And again, I'm going to give you some tips on, you're going to inhale, lift your arm, exhale, lower. But if that doesn't work for you, just as long as you're breathing through the movement. All right, so we're going to start at the neck. So I want you to imagine that your chin is slightly reaching back, like a turtle would be pulling in its neck into its shell. So we typically have our chin a little bit forward, our head is a little bit forward, creates a lot of neck tension, a lot of shoulder tension. So we want to think about, we're still lifted, we're going to slide that chin back. Our chin is parallel to the floor, and then we're releasing. So pulling the chin back and then releasing. Pulling the chin back and releasing. You may feel a little more activation in the back of your neck. It's a little bit of shortening happening with the muscles in the back of your neck. And then releasing. The next time the chin slightly pulls back, you're going to tip the nose up slightly and turn your head to the right. And we're just noticing any tension on that left side, all the way down into the shoulder. Come back to your center, tip the nose up slightly, keep the chin level with the floor, and turn left and back to center. We're going to let the chin come towards the chest without collapsing into the chest. So again, we want to think lifting up nice and tall and just nodding forward and stretching through the back of the neck. And then lifting back up to center. When we lift up towards the ceiling, find where the ceiling meets the wall. So tipping the nose up and lifting, and almost lifting from the front of the chest, looking where the wall meets the ceiling and coming back to center. All of those exercises are just an evaluation of how the neck feels. We're going to slowly let the arms come off and let the arms, palms face forward, and just let the arms hang. We're going to let the arms stay relaxed, and we're just going to elevate your shoulders and depress, right? So let your shoulders drop, lift and lower. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. And then take your right shoulder up towards your ears, roll it back, and let it slide forward. And again, lift it up, roll it back, and slide forward. And up, roll back, slide forward, and one last time. And then same thing on the left side. So again, arms are just relaxed, just hanging from the shoulders. We're still lifted. Lift up and back and release. And lift up and back and release. And just do a little comparison of that right to left. And last one. Now let's lift both and back and down. A couple more shoulder rolls, back and down. And then let's begin to lift the arms. So when we lift the arms, we're going to let the arms raise to the ceiling. And we're just noticing, again, as we lift our arms, are the elbows straight? Is the chest staying open? A lot of times we'll kind of curl inward. So reaching the arms up towards the ceiling and allowing the arms to come back down. So arm arcs, just reaching up. Breathing in. Think of that 3D breath breakdown that we did. So you're getting expansion front and back, side to side, and top to bottom. And then we're just going to let the arms open out to a T. So in this position, we're just going to turn our palms down, thumbs point towards the floor, and palms point back. And then we're going to open back to the T. And then we're going to turn down and reach back, and then open back to the T. And then reach and return. And then we're just going to bring the arms in, and we're just going to take our palms, turn them towards each other, and we're going to pull elbows back. So elbows are reaching back, arms are reaching forward, elbows are reaching back, arms are reaching forward. And then we're just going to let the arms come down. So we're going to be moving our spine in several different positions. So being conscious of what works for your body. We're going to be flexing the spine. We're going to be extending the spine. We're going to be rotating the spine, and we're going to be side bending. So again, if any of those things do not feel good for you, just maybe watch the exercise and you'll be moving on to what we're doing next. And then you're just going to take your arms down to the side of the chair. You're going to take your left arm up alongside the ear, and then use your right arm to help lift you up nice and tall. At the same time, push down into your left foot. I want you to feel that extension and that length on that left side. And then lower the arm back down. Reaching the right arm up, same thing. Reach up through the right arm, press down through the right foot, and feel that lengthening up that right side. And lower back down. We'll be coming across the body. Left arm comes up, right foot presses down, and lengthen. And lower back down. Right arm comes up, left foot pushes down, and we feel this cross connection of our shoulder to our hip, and come back down. Let's lift that left arm up again. Let's find that length on that side, and we're just going to let that right arm reach slightly to the floor. Now, things that tend to happen is the head starts to drop. We want to think about our head pressing up and back against a wall, and then lower and come back up to tall sitting. Reaching that right arm up, lifting up, and sliding that left arm down, staying grounded through your sit bones, and reaching back up and lowering down. And then let's do it once more on each side. Reach up, side bend, back to center, and down. Right arm up, lengthening, and side bend. And coming back down. And then taking both arms up, reaching up at the same time, pressing down through the feet. And lower. The way back down. We're going to take our hands across of the chest. We're going to be rotating side to side. Think first of lengthening up towards the ceiling. And I've taken the arms out to start, but what I want you to think about is your ribs are rotating to the right. And your head just follows. If we keep the nose in line with the chest wall, in line with the cross of the arms, we're less likely to just turn our head. So again, we're lengthened and we're rotating to the left, staying grounded through the sit bones, and then back to center. And again, turning right and back into center. Turning left and back to center. And then we're going to take our arms and make a goalpost. So my palms are down, elbows 90 degrees. And then we're rotating to the right, and we're going to pause here and extend our arm and look towards our thumb. Bend our elbow and come back to center. Twist to the left. Extend your left arm. Look at your thumb. Bend your elbow. Come back to center. Reach both arms out. Turn your palms up to relax your shoulders, turn your palms down and reach. And then as we're turning, we're paying attention to what our knees are doing. We want to avoid shifting the knees because then we're actually moving from the pelvis. So it might not be a big twist. And then come back to center and twist to the left and back to center and twist right and back to center. Let's do one more left and one more right and last one left. And then back and let the arms relax. Couple of shoulder rolls. All right, hands are going to come on to the chair. Again, we're staying grounded. I want you to think about you're lifting your sternum. So your sternum sits below your collarbone on the chest wall. Okay. And you want to think about you're lifting your chest rather than tipping your chin up to lift up. So Hands can be on the chair, you could push down, you could hold on to the side, and you're lifting your chest. And again, just keep the eye gaze where the wall meets the ceiling, and then back to center. So lifting and coming forward. And lifting and coming forward. One more time. And forward. And then we're just going to take our hands and then just let them be relaxed. And I want you to think first, lift up towards the ceiling, draw your chin slightly towards your chest, and then you're just rounding. Take a moment here and then slowly back up. So just a little, and think about your tipping just a slight amount below the armpit and then coming back up, just working on our upper back a little bit more, and then rounding and coming back up. One more time and coming back up. All right, so from here we're going to move down to the pelvis. So take a moment, again, rock on those sit bones. Hands are going to come onto your thighs. You're just pressing into your thighs, lifting up a little bit. And you're rolling slightly behind your sit bones and slightly forward. I'm going to turn my chair. I have a little bit of a different view. Again, you're coming to the front of your chair, you're pressing hands onto your thigh, and you're rolling slightly behind, and then coming right back up. When you're rolling back, your low back curve is getting a little bit flatter. When you come right back up onto your sit bones, you've got your natural curve of your low back. When you go a little bit in front of your sit bones, then you have deepened your low back curve. And then we're just going to rest right in that center. We're going to go side to side. So we're going to rock a little bit over to that right side. Left side gets a little lighter and then come back down. Rock a little bit over to the left and the right side gets back. Lifts up a little bit and then come back down. And then we are going to take it into a circle. So we're going to roll back. We're going to shift a little bit to the left. We're going to rock a little bit to the front, over to the right, and back. So we're just making a pelvic circle, going forward, to the side, and back. And hands are just resting on the thighs. And just moving from the pelvis. Spine is following. And then when we come back up to our center position, let's find sitting up nice and tall. Let's go the opposite direction. So we're rolling back over to the right, slightly forward, over to the left, and back. A couple more times around. Back up to our center position. So we're, again, just going to be on our sit bones, sitting up nice and tall. We're going to work a little bit with the legs. So when you come to that front position, as you're seated first and grounded through your feet. And again, I'm sitting towards the front end of my chair rather. If I sit back, it's easier to just kind of slump down. So I want to be in The joints are gonna move the best when we're in our alignment. So right up on top of our sit-bones, relax the shoulders. And I'm just gonna extend out my right leg. So my right leg's extended, my knee is extended. I'm still balanced on my sit bones, and I'm gonna unweight my leg. And then I'm gonna lower it back down. This time I'm gonna hinge a little bit forward, and I'm gonna try to unweight my leg. I'm not lifting it up too high. If I roll back behind my sit bones, I could lift my leg to the ceiling, right? I wanna be right on top of my sit bones, hinge a little bit forward. You can hold on to the side of your chair and just lift that leg and reach. You're gonna feel a lot of work happening in the top of your thigh. And then I'm gonna lower that leg down and I'm gonna bring that foot in. Same thing on the other side. So again, holding onto your chair, hinging a little bit forward, lift that leg up and lower down. Slide that leg in, reach your right leg out, hinge a little bit forward, lift. And bring that foot in, slide your left leg out, hinge forward, so my spine is staying straight, reach through the heel, lift, lower, and come back in. One more on each side, reach through the heel, hinge forward, lift. And back in. Reach forward with the left, hinge forward, and come back in. Staying nice and tall, how high could you lift your leg? If you need assistance to lift it, use your hand underneath your thigh. But notice your spine. Notice you're sitting up nice and tall instead of coming back and slouching. You're lifting nice and tall. And then lower that leg down, lift and lower and lift. How again, you can hold onto your chair, breathing through the movement. You can inhale as you lift. You could exhale as you lift. Inhale as you lift, exhale. Right? And then let's just raise our heels. Take a moment to take a peek at your feet. When you raise your heel, the heel doesn't have to be a high heel raise. I want you to notice, are you rolling out onto the outside of your foot? Are you rolling inward, your knees coming together? Or can you get your alignment so that your knee is in line with your hip joint, your kneecap is in line with your second and third toe? So your heel raise doesn't have to be high. It just needs to be a little bit more aligned, and you feel that rounding through your big toe mound. So you're lifting up and lowering down. You might feel a lot of activation in the back of your leg and your calf. And then lift your right leg and then lift your left. Lift your right heel and then your left heel. Right heel and left heel. Right heel and left heel. And then let's lean back just a little bit to bring that foot up. And we're going to extend that leg out this time. And we're just going to point and flex the foot. Holding up that leg, could have a slight bend in our knee. And trying to be as tall sitting as you can. And then rotate that ankle in both directions. And then reaching out through the heel. Lower that leg down. Extend your left leg out, holding on to the back of your thigh. Press through your heel. Point through your toe. Press through your heel. Point through your toe. And then circle in both directions. All right. Now we are going to do a little stretch for the top of the foot. You're going to come up onto the tip of the toes, and then you're going to press a little bit forward. You can also slide your foot underneath your chair slightly so that, and again, paying attention to you're just on the front part of your toe joints, and you're not rolling out to the side, you're staying in that upright position, and you're just getting a little stretch. If you're really tight, it might be a little bit uncomfortable. So it might just be a little bit more from the top and down. Same thing on the other side. So you're coming up onto the tips of the toes and you're just kind of rolling the front of the foot forward. Again, you could slide that foot underneath, just keep that heel lifted to the ceiling, and then just take a couple of breaths here. And then come back up. All right, so we're going to turn sideways on the chair. When we come sideways on the chair, if you've got a back that you can put your arm on, you can let that back foot, and you're going to get a nice little stretch here. You are off the chair with one side of the pelvis. That's going to help square the pelvis. And then you can turn your toes under. So you're in a little bit of a lunge, but you're supported. All right, so that knee is dropping straight down. Your arm is on the back of the chair. You're going to send that arm up alongside the body. And you're going to side that over the chair. You're going to take a couple of breaths here. Back up to the ceiling. And then a couple of breaths here. Back up to the ceiling. Over. And back up to the ceiling. And then slide the foot forward. Slide around. Other side. You're going to drop that knee down, top of the foot. And then you're just taking a moment again. You're going straight down. You can turn the toes under, a little bit of a toe stretch here. Reach the arm up, reaching up towards the ceiling and side the knee. And the center. And side. And back to center. And then slide that foot forward and coming all the way back up. So again, you want your chair to be sturdy. So if you need to move your chair a little bit towards a wall or something that you can brace your chair against, you're going to just take a moment and I want you to hinge forward. So in the hip hinge, we're going to talk about that for just a minute before we come up to standing. So I am going to grab a dowel rod. This when we come to a standing position, you're in this position where you're leaning forward. The crown of the head is reaching to the ceiling. So when we come up to standing, and again, use whatever you need to come up, you're shifting the weight forward, you're pushing it into your feet, and you're rising up. All right, so push this back. All right, so with the hip hinge, the chair out to the side. You could use a dowel rod. You could also use a broomstick turned upside down. You're going to take that, place your hand on top of the dowel rod at the base of your spine. The opposite hand is going to come to the back of the neck. So in the hip hinge, you are going to be bending your knees, tipping forward, untipping and standing tall. So again, you're bending your knees, tipping forward, pressing into your feet and rising up. So without the dowel, so safer for bending down to get something off the floor, pick something up. So when we think about it here, we are flexing at the hip, bending the knees. We could come down a little bit lower into that squat position. We're pressing into our feet and then we're rising all the way back up. So again, we can take our arms forward and tip forward. Now, with your chair, you can take that into that same position. So walk yourself back a little bit, bend your knees, and you're sending the weight back into your heels, press into your feet, and rise up. Hands are on the chair. So relax the hip, bend the knees, press in, and rise back up. Bend the knees, hinge the hip, and back up. One more time. Bend the knees, hinge at the hip, and back up. I'm going to hold on to the chair. And we're going to line our feet up so that our feet are hip distance. Hands are going to be on the chair, and we're just going to rock a little bit forward and back. Okay, so a little bit forward and back. Okay. And you're feeling the weight on the front of the foot, feeling the weight on the back of the foot, and then finding that balance between the ball of the foot and the center of the heel. I want you to have light fingertips or holding onto your chair, shift the leg bone back and release. Gravity is pushing us forward, so we're falling forward. We want to get reaching up to the crown of the ceiling with the crown of the head. We want to press the leg back just slightly so that we feel our back line engage. It's going to give us a little bit better balance. So again, as we rise up, we are going to lift the heels and then we're going to lower down. Lift the heels and lower down. And then when we lift the heels this time, let's keep the chin level to the floor and just look to the right. Come back to center. Look to the left. Come back to center and lower down. Lifting the heels once again. Let's look down and up where the wall meets the ceiling. In center and look down. Let's step 1 foot back, right? So 1 foot back, and in this position, you're pushing off your back foot and you're feeling grounded through your front foot. You're going to rock back slightly, lift your front toes. Rock forward, lift your back heel, rock back, lift your front foot. All right, so just holding on if you need to for balance. It's the rock and walk. We're just rocking back, rocking forward. It's our position we take when we take a step. Right? We're pushing off that back foot. When we land on our front foot, we are landing on our pinky side and finishing on our big toe. And then rocking back and rocking forward. Switch your legs. Right leg goes back. And again, holding lightly onto your chair, push forward with the back foot, lift the front foot. So you're lifting your forefoot on that left foot, pressing forward and back, noticing that you're going from your pinky side and finishing on your big toe. And then maybe you hold on with one finger. If you feel balanced, you start to do a little swinging with the elbows. And we'll do one more. All right, so holding on to our chair, let's slide our right leg out. And we're weight bearing a little bit into that left leg. And we're just lifting our foot slightly off the floor. Back and okay. All right, so we're staying lifted. We can reach our left arm to the ceiling. Feeling that whole side. and then come back. And then left leg goes out, weight bearing into that right leg, and down. All right, let's turn the chair once again. And when you bring the chair into the front, you're going to be folding in half and placing your hands on your chair seat. So again, you're standing, you're going to take your arms up and you're reaching up like you're trying to climb a rope. Reach and pull. Reach and pull. Reach and pull. And then reaching with both arms, you're going to send your arms forward and your hips back. All right, so we're going into that hip hinge, and then we're pushing down into the feet to lift up, and then we're hinging and lifting up and lifting up. And then the next time we hinge, we're going to take our hands onto the chair seat into that position. So we're folding forward. Our feet are underneath our hips. And we're going to lift our chest and look forward. And as we look forward, we want to keep the neck long. And then we want to just let the head hang. And then we want the chest to lift and forward. And then we want to lift and look forward. And lower down. One more time. Lift. And then just look down slightly into that neutral position. You're going to walk forward. Hands can come to the top of the chair, and then we'll come all the way back up. So we'll turn the chair around, and we're going to come back to a seated position. And from this position, we're just, again, sitting nice and tall. We're going to take a couple of breaths here. And we're going to raise our arms up, lifting all the way up to the ceiling. Taking a nice big breath in. We're going to rotate the wrist to come all the way back down. And then we're going to rotate the wrist to come all the way back up. One more time, coming down. And back up. And then we're going to take and interlace our hands and bring them behind our head. And we're almost like we're tractioning our neck slightly, kind of pulling up. Elbows are in your peripheral vision. And we're lifting up again, looking where the wall meets the ceiling. And then looking forward. And again, up. And looking forward. One more time, up. And forward. Taking it into a side bend. I want you to breathe into that left side. Lifting back up and over to the left, breathing into your right side. And then back to center. Reaching the hands once again, you're going to take and fold forward. Hands are going to come towards the feet. And then you're going to sweep your arms up and look up. And then come down and lift up. And once more, down and lifting up, and then reaching all the way out to the side. So let's recheck through the body. So we're going to take our hands back on to our thighs. We're sitting up nice and tall. We're going to take a few breaths in, thinking about our expansion, front to back, side to side, top to bottom. And then keeping our chin level to the floor, we're going to look to the right and just kind of notice if we have any more range of motion than we did when we began. Go to the left and then back to center. And then again, reaching to the ceiling, drawing the chin slightly towards the chest, lifting up, and looking where the wall meets the ceiling, and then coming back to center. Let's take a moment to hold on with our right hand, take our left hand over to the outside of our right knee, and just do a little simple twist. Noticing the range of the rib cage, and then come back to center. Left hand holds on to the chair, right hand goes on to the outside of the left leg, pressing the thigh into your hand, and come back to center. Noticing our pelvis, we're going to again roll back, roll forward, roll back, and forward. And again, side to side. And then let's rotate around. And then we're going to pause and rotate the opposite way. And pause. And then we're going to lean back a little, see if we can lift one leg, and then see if we can lift the other. If you want, just take one up at a time. And both. And we'll come back down, one more. And then just taking a moment, letting the hands rest here. And then let's take our arms up. And then we're going to reach forward. You can use your hands to come back up to that standing position. But also if you want to try just coming from that sit to stand position and rising all the way up. We're going to take a nice big breath in. I'm going to lift my chair. And then from the standing position, just taking your right hand onto your left wrist and bringing it up and over into that half moon stretch. Breathing in, back up, switching sides. Hands going to go behind, and we'll just interlace the hands, roll the shoulders back, lift the chest up before the wall meets the ceiling. And back to center. So one more time, lifting your arms up, reaching up, seeing if you can float your heels up, just kind of up and down. And then let the arms come down. Let the hands just come to the front of the thighs. Send the hips back. Get a nice hip hinge. Reach the arms forward. All the way back up. Up with your right, up with your left. And all the way down. And then just one more big shoulder roll to finish. Thank you, everyone, for coming